This episode of 1v1, the Creator Interview Series, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support this show and the Boss Rush Media family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better.
Hello everybody, welcome to 1v1, a special edition. I'm your host and enlightened excited Eddie V. Joining me is one of my besties. You know, you guys, he's 1/3 of the founders of Boss Rush Media. He has been away for a long time, but if you guys have seen him on the Boss Rush podcast and After Dark, you know who he is. We love him. We miss him. Everybody, it's the wise Wisconsinite himself, Mr. Jesse Douglas. Hello, good sir.
Hey Ed, how's it going?
It is going well. You are serving body. You are looking good. You got smiles. I'm so happy to see you again. Hi.
Hey, yeah. Life has definitely gotten quite a bit better since, even a couple of months ago, but yeah, if you've like Ed said, if you've listened to the After Dark where we kind of talked about, my divorce, and I got in some pretty deep detail about, what I was going through and stuff, and there's a lot of things yet that I gotta work on, because of some of the stuff I've went through. So, but that'll come in time, like it's funny because like I don't want to be in a relationship because I'm enjoying being single, but at the same time I want to be, but like it's just and I know it's just, that's the thing. It's just it's gonna kind of be a back and forth thing, but it's best for right now that I probably just kind of stay, worrying about, life and fixing things and working on myself a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna shy away from things if an opportunity comes up, but I'm just not really looking, you know. And sometimes that's the best way, is you find someone when you're not looking. So I just
Yes.
wanna enjoy time with the kids and just be happy again. So
Yes. Well, everybody, we are kind of going to be talking to Jesse about, his comeback to Boss Rush Media slowly, it's all
mhm.
in due time, and things that he wants to do. We'll probably end up talking about some gaming because it seems that Microsoft may be on the roll and may actually have a Game of the Year contender this year. It's going to be very interesting. Um, so before we get into that, speaking of relationships, why you trying to stay single and I'm trying to find somebody?
Well,
uh,
yeah, it's not easy because it's really I- what's really tough because like I have dabbled a little bit and like like too soon, like
mhm.
but the whole dating app stuff, it's really difficult because like like you most I feel like most of the people on those, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if they're just trying to look for hookups or like unless they literally say like there no hookups, I'm looking for real stuff. But at the same time though, there is like a inherent like it gets a little judgy,
Yeah.
like I think people get a little too judgy with looks and things like that, and like I because and the only reason I say that is because some of the people will literally just put pictures of themselves on there and then nothing about them, like that's good enough. I look good, that's good enough, like no, no, it's not. That's not good enough. I want to like know something about you, and like, yeah, I mean, the idea is you do want to try to hook up with someone and get to know them,
Mm-hmm.
like not hook up like as in hook up, but I mean,
But get
go on a
together,
date, whatever.
like
But at the same time, though, I still want to have somewhat of a jumping point to know, like, okay, is this someone that I would be interested in? Because the looks aren't, you know, the looks are looks. I mean, once you get older and those fade, I mean, what keeps a couple together is the personality, like in the end.
right.
So I don't know. It's just it's not. It makes it easy to look and find out what's out there, but at the same time, it doesn't really it doesn't really work the way it's intended. I don't think, because there's
Well,
also people that go on there fake stuff and
y-
whatever.
well, I think for me, I kind of want to have like, I guess it's that like dating dinner thing where people come, like singles come
Yeah.
together and have
Oh
a
yeah,
date dinner.
speed
I
dating.
want speed dating. I want to try that, and I want to see,
Yeah.
and I think I want to do it to see what can I learn about myself and what things do I need to work on? Like, is it the conversation?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I have a problem with conversations, as many podcasts that I host
Yeah.
and have and stuff. But like meeting somebody and having that connection, do we have it or do I not? Like, what things about myself that I would that I would need to work on. I think speed dating at least would give me an idea. Not say that it would fix anything, but it would give me an idea. Um, because like
Yeah.
we are. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I've kind of thought about, like, I would like to try that too, but like, because and I've said this like on my social media or whatever, but like I haven't really talked about it too much on the show. But like I remember when I first joined you guys, and I was nervous, and because like like I love to talk to people, and I can talk for, hours with
Right.
people once I'm comfortable. But it took me a lot of pushing myself out of my comfort zone my whole entire life, because I like originally am very, very bad at like social, like I have social anxiety, and like really difficult for me to socialize with people,
Hmm.
and talk to people that I don't really know very well. But it was years and years and years of pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because though I had social anxiety, I really wanted to, like connect with people, and talk about things that I like and that people like, and so yeah, like I had to push myself out of my comfort zone for so long. And that's kind of, I think, what that does, like the speed dating,
Hmm.
it's not normal. It's, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's not exactly a normal way to meet someone, but it does kind of, it's almost like a like getting to repeatedly worry about your first impression with multiple
Yes.
people all in one night, like it's about that first impression, and like what, yeah, like you said, I think what you would learn is, okay, like, how is I putting myself off as my, what was I doing for this first impression, like what worked with some of these possibly, and what didn't, like, yeah, you're kind of like almost tweaking like how you approach someone, in a
Yeah.
sense, I
Right.
guess.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/bossrushmedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
Well, Jason, I kind of want to ask, now that you're like slowly coming back to Boss Rush or doing things on Boss Rush, what would you personally like to do?
So yeah, like we kind of, me and Corey have kind of talked, and we've got some stuff out there that it's just kind of like the rough, like rough start to it, but and we put it as like the it's almost like a pod and play, or like just kind of doing like playing games, like, and we kind of want to take the stuff that we used to do, like the Royale with cheese and squad goals and stuff, and we kind of wanted to do that kind of stuff but mix it with like Xbox talk, since
Mm-hmm.
like like I mostly play on Xbox, and Corey, for the most part, he kind of jumps around, but he admits like lately it's been kind of focused on Xbox, and he still tries to play like his Switch, and he's playing his PS5 and stuff, which I have all three of them as well, but I've always just kind of been more of an Xbox driven gamer, and so yeah, we kind of with us not really having Arsenal X anymore, that would give us a chance to still talk about Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
but also get to play some games and have fun while we're doing it, on that level as well. Because like I missed, and Corey missed, and I'm sure you miss like those squad goals where we would play games together and just kind of
Yes.
have fun with it. So like it's giving us a chance to do that stuff again, and also talk about Xbox um a little bit, since we
And
don't really have Arsenal X.
yeah, and it's weird because I know Arsenal X, like we put it on hiatus and thing, and we kind of merged it with Crossroads. It was getting to a point, and Nintendo's kind of experienced this, or just video games in general, that the news for video games have been hard. It's been hard to find, and with Xbox, kind of being quiet for a couple of years. Just now, like a lot of Series S's and Series X's coming out, it probably would have been hard to talk about those systems because we didn't have the first party games from Xbox. And how many times people want to hear about any drama with the Activision deal? Like, people are kind of done with the Activision deal. They just want to get it done and move on and stuff. And I think that even with Sony, that is like kind of suffering with some people, because it's like, Sony, what are you doing? You're holding this up. You're saying this and saying that, and people are just kind of like tired of it. With this developers direct that just happened a couple like a month ago. By the time you guys see this, it's kind of getting is being refreshing that we are getting news from Xbox. Phil Spencer, he has a interview with IGN and stuff, and he kind of admitted, or kind of said that, yeah, we were quiet in 22. We didn't really put anything out, but we want to make sure that our games are high quality, and that's great.
Mhm.
Hopefully, he could deliver on that and stuff. So definitely, with you coming back kind of to Boss Rush, hear you guys talk about Xbox, having that actual presence of Xbox is going to be real helpful, and then everything.
Mhm.
It's really gonna
Yeah.
it really is gonna depend on you guys, because I could talk about Xbox too. Yes, I am the Nintendo guy, but I have a Series X,
Mhm.
and it to me, I don't have my PlayStation 5 yet, but it's important that I know what's going on with Microsoft, because they are part of this gaming industry. They are part of the gaming culture and stuff. And if they go all out and everything, yes, they will take the talk and discussion and you know, the whatever Nintendo does and stuff. Because Nintendo is going to kind of be like quiet a little bit this year, which is fine. I actually tweeted about this. I'm like, if Nintendo doesn't have a big fall, that is fine. Because at this point in time, Microsoft and Sony needs to have a fall. They need to have a big
Mhm.
fall this year. You know, um,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, like I know I believe a couple of people in Boss Rush have them. But I'll be honest, like right now the big talking point, and you see that I see all over social media, is a lot of these people um showing off the Steam Deck,
Hmm.
um and showing off like how well it plays some of these newer games like Dead Space and stuff like that. And like the I seen someone actually comment on Twitter that, with all this that's going on, that maybe Sony and Xbox need to rethink about maybe looking into handhelds again. Um, I don't know for sure that would be an answer for, or something that either of them would really, you know, have to do yet. But at the same time, like, yeah, we have 5G, phones, and like, technically those speeds should be good enough to be able to play, the game streaming and stuff from Game Pass Ultimate and all that. But there's
Yes.
still those people that want to have it directly on the thing that they're playing it on, and I can see the argument for it. The Steam Deck does show that, like, you can play these games handheld really, really well, and and not really then have to worry about a internet connection necessarily. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's probably gonna be like, for especially for Xbox, it's gonna be like VR. I don't think, unless they really, really get pushed into a corner where they really think that, okay, we really do need to look into this. I don't think they're gonna do anything until they get to that point as far as making something handheld. Um, but then again, who knows? They could just be being silent about it and secretly are working on something, because developers like to, and companies like to do that too, where they'll kind of make you think that nothing's going on, and then next thing you know, they're like, oh, by the way, we got
Right.
this. So, who knows? But I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, that's been the big thing lately, and like you said, like, a lot of the consoles and stuff, they've got stuff coming out, but it's been, pretty slow and steady for the most part. But yeah, like, I feel like the Steam Deck has kind of been taking all the attention right now, because that's the shining new thing, so.
All right. Well, before we get back to more gaming talk, I gotta ask you, what have you been doing on the music front? Like, have you been producing? Have you had the passion to arrange? Like, what have you been doing on the music front?
um I'll be honest, I haven't done a whole lot. Like, I've had like inspiration, and
Hmm.
like had thought about doing stuff, and was kind of messing around with stuff a little bit. But I do actually have a project that I'm going to work on. I kind of not force myself. I want to work on it.
Hmm.
But yeah, we got to go over some stuff and figure stuff out. Me and my sister um are gonna, in a couple of weeks, we're gonna get together, and she's kind of wanting to, so she never really listened to podcasts,
Yeah.
but like, she started, going into therapy and stuff, and then kind of in therapy, like, was suggested some podcasts and things like that. And so then she did check them out. And now, like, like everyone, I feel like once they try their first podcast and they find something that they really like, then they just start looking for everything that they like. What else can I find? Oh, and, like I had like 40 different podcasts on my podcast app that I use to listen to stuff. And I never listen to most of them, but they're there if I ever want to, change it up a bit. So as far as the music goes, like, yeah, my sister is actually thinking about doing a podcast. And so I'm gonna work with her a little bit and try to help her with any knowledge and stuff that I have. And I told her, feel free to ask Ed or Corey or whatever too if she has questions about things. And yeah, she could, so she wants to kind of do something with podcasting. And so I was gonna try to make an intro and stuff for her, so then she doesn't have to worry about
Oh,
looking for royalty free music or whatever to use. And then I can make something that's unique to her show, her show only. And then she'll have something that's hers that she can use for her show. I told her today, I said, just give me some stuff that, like to inspire, like what kind of mood or sound you want, me to kind of set for your intro and stuff. So that's kind of my project that I'm taking on and gonna start here. So yeah, I'm kind of
yay.
excited to about that and helping her out with getting her stuff hopefully started soon.
Is she
Um
nervous?
A little bit. I think right now it's just like she knows what she wants to do,
Hmm.
but but she's never really done podcasting or anything before. But she knows kind of what she wants it to be about, but I'm gonna help her with the, like, like trying to, like figure out, like, do you want like have it segmented where you have like different parts of it or something, or like, like just kind of like see what she has for ideas, and
Hmm.
and see if I can, if I have any input or things that I can help her with. But yeah, and it will be, I won't say too much about it, but it will be like an interview style kind of thing. But and she wants to kind of focus a little bit on mental health, like
Hmm.
for that to be a bigger focus. And um and I kind of talked to Corey about, like, like if she does end up, starting making a show and stuff, we talked about, if she wants to, if she would be interested in like being in our like friends of the network kind of area, to
Yeah.
help with getting started at least a little bit. And I said to her, and I and people who've listened to our shows for a long time, we really do always try to talk um about hard topics maybe sometimes, or like, about people's mental health and stuff like that. And I think like doing a podcast about that kind of stuff is very valuable. Like I think that would be a really good thing, to be able to help promote, like, just because we've always said, like, we promote people,
Mhm.
looking into getting help with their mental health and things like that. So
Well, it's shows like that about mental health and therapy is very helpful to people because they're able to tell their story, their life story. Um,
mhm.
be able to give out, tell the secrets that they were hiding behind, but feel free that it's out because I think what a lot of people don't realize is that there is someone out there who is I'll say who understands what someone else is going through, because they're going through that or they've been through that, so they can recognize the signs, they can recognize the feelings and the emotions and stuff. And if it's a podcast that's going to help somebody and get them to listen, it's not to force people to listen or anything, but if it catches your ear, you want to hear their story and recognize it, people will go out there and recognize it and hear it. Like you said, mental health has become a bigger thing because people have, accepted it and expressed that I have problems, I have issues, I have troubles, and I need help. Um,
Hmm.
Back in the day, you didn't get help like this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of men who have a lot of issues, and who has to go, they're scared to go to therapy because of sometimes what they were taught. They were just like, you have
Hmm.
issues, you deal with your issues, you don't go out and go see a therapist and stuff. That's not manly, or and things like that, or that's not masculine. And nowadays it's just like, people who struggle, if they follow that, they're harming themselves. you
Hmm.
know and you don't have to harm yourself. It's okay to go to a therapist and talk, and it go out and get some help and everything, because people want to see you better. People want to see you live your life. They don't want to see you hiding in the shadow or being afraid and stuff, or even harming yourself and everything. That's why it's kind of important that people who need therapy, or who are learning to be a therapist and stuff like that, that it's important, because as
Hmm.
as we get older and time continues to go on, mental health is going to jump. It really is going to
Yeah.
jump. Like a lot of trauma and everything, that is going to jump. And if we don't have a space to talk or get that out, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, therapy and and talk the people that we talk to, like uh they're usually people that went through a lot. Like they're basically, their life experience is
Hmm.
what helped them be able to sit down and talk with you about your problems and help you work through them, because they've had to do that themselves, or a lot of them actively are doing that themselves.
Yeah.
But they have the tools that they know work, and they want to share them with you. Like essentially is how it is, what it really is it's, there's tools, there's things you can do, like there's science based, things that they will tell you, like, just, the whole, you hear people talk about writing like three things down every morning when you wake up,
Yeah.
right? Three things down and positive about yourself that you love, or whatever, like that releases, like the chemicals in your brain when you do that, that make you feel good. Like,
Yeah.
and so just doing that every day, you're training your brain, and you're making yourself feel good, and you're focusing on the positive things about yourself, and like building that relationship with yourself, and and proving that, and just hugging yourself and saying I love you, like that releases the same chemicals that get released when someone else hugs you and says that, like, because we are capable of being all we need to be happy,
It's
and it's just sometimes it's hard to see that, but we, like we can be happy and make ourselves happy, and we shouldn't ever, expect someone else to make us be happy, like
that
you need to be.
I think there's a level of acceptance that's part of mental health. It's just like
Mhm.
accepting yourself. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I think you spoke about this on After Dark, um, of things that you just had to accept. You know,
Hmm.
you going through your divorce and everything, and I know me and you, we talked throughout all of this, and just the roller coaster of emotions, I shall say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it took you a while to accept some things, and but I think once you accept it, you started learning how to move on. And I think when you get to that level of acceptance and you're able to work on yourself to like help you move along, you start seeing the things that you were really worried and concerned about kind of like fade away in a sense and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and in my particular situation with my divorce, and and I kind of said on that show of what I think the problems were. Um, like when she first wanted to, you know, go, we were first going through the separation and stuff, and it was all just kind of thrown at me, and I was just kind of like, like, wait, what's going on? Um, like realizing how foggy, and just like at first, like my first reaction was, what did I do wrong? Like trying, worrying about, what did I do? Did I hurt her? Did I, like I felt bad and I was worried, and, you know, like wasn't thinking about myself at first,
Hmm.
because I had just spent so many years just thinking about, you know, her, and, you know, eventually, there I did kind of start to try to focus on my happiness again, because I was noticing that I wasn't happy, and I think I knew that like finally I was seeing, okay, like this is not right, but I still wanted to try, to fix things. But then, then it took some time of kind of just stepping back and really being with my thoughts that, hey, wait a minute. Like once the fog started to clear and I could see things more clearly, of all the things that I was going through and the things I was doing, and just not feeling appreciated for all the things I was doing, I was just like, wait a minute. Like why should I be the one feeling bad about this? Like like what about all this stuff that, like that I've been going through, like trying to like say to myself, like, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that she needs to answer for. And and then I started bringing that stuff up, and of course didn't none of it ever really got very far, because she really, I don't think, cared too much about
Hmm.
my feelings or any of that stuff. And and looking back, there was many times that I said things, and it was obvious she didn't care about my feelings, because nothing changed. And if someone really really cares about you, and and your relationship is going bad, if they really care about you, then they would want to hear you out of what's hurting you, and what you'd like to change in the relationship. And that just wasn't happening. And it was, so I had to come to the conclusion and accept that, yeah, like, as far as I know, that this person is basically was fake since the beginning, and I just have to accept that, like, I because I'm not gonna get any. There's not gonna be any, uh, you know, uh, anyone saying, yeah, or she's not gonna say, yeah, I never did, care. There's not gonna. I'm not gonna get that out of her. But so yeah, like there's a lot of that kind of stuff. But
it it kind of, and I know some people are going to be like, wait, what? But it kind of feels like a talk the walk kind of discussion. And the
Mhm.
reason why I say it feels like a talk the walk kind of discussion is because in some of the games that we play on talk the walk, the decisions that we make or the storylines that we are learning, acceptance is part of that. There's things that we have to accept that, so me and Nelly, we played Detroit Become Human for PlayStation 4. And we were talking about the things that we were going through in that game, the emotions that we was feeling because of the choices that we made and stuff. And
Mhm.
playing games like that, you gotta face some realization that, yes, even though this game has a path that is designed for you to follow, your choices do affect and change that path. And of course, there's a flowchart that shows you what your choices lead to and everything. But if you made a bad choice and stuff, you have to accept that. If you made a
Mhm.
good choice, you have to accept that. If you made a, well, it is what it is kind of choice, you have to accept that. And I think in life, definitely with therapy, of course, therapy is not a talk the walk kind of moment stuff, but it is part of acceptance and everything. And I
Mhm.
think, we all go through something that we have to, kind of accept. And hearing a podcast about mental health, or uh, there's a podcast on Earwolf where like there's an anonymous caller that calls this host and starts talking about stuff that they've been through, or things that they had. There was one that it was a phone call between the host and two twins and talking about their life there, but it was
Mhm.
also talking about someone dying on somebody, or someone being abused. There was one about a guy who was a school teacher, a black school teacher and everything, and the stuff that he has to deal with. And it's just like there's so much stuff that I think when people want to talk um about things, it there's some stuff that deals with that acceptance, that deals with mental health and everything, that deals with just life in general and stuff. And I
Mhm.
think you know here at Boss Rush Media that we want people, like we said, we want people to be themselves and everything. And there are some requirements that that we ask of some people and everything, um because we want stuff to be fun and be entertaining,
Mhm.
but we also want things, to make to educate people, to make people, hear our opinions on things, and whether they agree or not, be able to get they hear a voice and give a voice to them and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And yeah, and it's about it's just about starting a conversation.
yes.
Like that's really, that's what we're doing. We're just starting a conversation. We have our opinions about things. And like you said, whether you agree with it or disagree, like that's not the point. The point is like, okay, well, if you disagree or you agree, well then, talk about that, talk about what, like what your thought is on that. And we have now like the Discord and things where people can go and talk about things, start
Hmm.
threads if they want or whatever. And like, yeah, I mean, there's lots of places for people to have opinions, and as long as you're being, respectful of everyone,
Uh,
and they're not going off the rails.
yeah. So the podcast is called Beautiful Anonymous with
Okay.
Chris Geffler. Um,
Okay.
Chris Grefter, and it's just like random people calling him up, and they're having a conversation. And he's asking some questions and stuff because even him as a host been through some stuff.
Hmm.
I think he had like a drug problem and stuff, and
Yeah.
the struggles that he went through and everything. And I think that's very interesting that you know, hearing a podcast about mental health. I have an episode on Optional Opinion about depression with one of my friends that used to be on Twitter and everything. Um and we talked about, and I think I talked about this on past podcasts, but we talked
Hmm.
about on Optional Opinion about depression, more about someone is going through having depression, how do we, as the person who who recognizes it and wants to say something and wants to help, like what do we do? Because for some people they feel bad for other people who deal with depression because there's nothing that you could do until they personally work it out or come out of their state and everything. And I know that may make some people angry for hearing that and stuff, but it is true. I mean, some people really want to say something and they want to be encouraging. They want to remind people why they are loved and everything. And
Mhm.
sometimes depression blocks all of that out and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and and like that's one of my secret, like it's not secret if you know me, but like, something I don't really talk about much about myself and my personality is like I love when people succeed in life, and to celebrate when people succeed. And like, it doesn't matter, I don't care if if I don't or do succeed at something. Obviously I'll be excited and happy if I succeed in something, but like, I honestly, like, I get a lot of joy out of seeing people that I either know, or even just people that I don't really know that well. Like, just seeing people succeed in life,
mhm.
and not ever looking at life as some kind of competition where I'm trying to be better than someone, or like, life is just so much better when you can enjoy people succeeding as a whole. Like,
Yes.
just getting to celebrate with people that succeed, and get to, do the things or have the things that they wanted. And like, you were talking about, like, like depression and stuff, and like, I honestly think that, like, I secretly would kind of like to be able to work with people who have addictions, like, and trying to help people that have addiction problems and stuff like that. Because, like, n- so, like, if I work at a hospital, and I've been working a lot in the ER and stuff. And in the ER, you get to see firsthand a lot of the people the different people that are coming there for whatever reasons.
Mhm.
And a lot of the times it's either, people that are suicidal, or people who are, like, coming in on after a massive binge or whatever on some kind of drug, or bad drugs that were laced with something, or like, and seeing, sometimes way too young of kids that are doing hardcore drugs. And it's really sad. And like, and it's easy sometimes for people to just want to be like, oh geez, like, their parents, or oh, these people, they really need to just get over this, and fix this problem that they have. Like, it's really easy to, look at it and want to blame these people for the mess that they've got themselves into. But but like, I sympathize with it. Like, this an addiction is something that isn't easily, like, just you just decide one day, oh, I'm just gonna get over this. Like, that's something that you get into. And and a lot of times it's depression, or these states of mind that we can get put into, that where we don't have full control over, doing things that we know are right and wrong. And to empathize and have compassion for these people that just need help. They just need someone to tell them that they're loved, or that they're important, or that they're, that they mean something. and a lot of these people just have never heard that. And and that's why I just try to be positive even when I feel like crap, and like, have my days where I'm just like, life sucks. I still try to just be positive and go
Mm-hmm.
out there, and like, sometimes it might be a fake it till you make it kind of situation where, like, you're putting on a fake smile or whatever just to get through the day. But if you do that, there a lot of the times that you can turn it around, and that fake smile is real eventually, because you're just trying to be positive about things. And I know that's easier said than done. Again, like, when people are in certain states of mind, it's not that easy. Like, it seems like an
Mm-hmm.
impossible feat, for people. But like, if you're, not doing horrible, and you're able to, just put some positivity out there, like, it really does make life so much better. Like, if you just try to be positive about things and look at things from a positive perspective, or, like I said, celebrate when other people accomplish things, and have compassion and empathy for the people that are struggling, and like, sometimes it doesn't take a lot to turn someone around, even, like. And so, yeah, like, I've kind of like always had this secret thing of, like, where I would love to work with people who have addictions, and trying to help them get through it,
Yeah,
because
and I
I
think,
just feel like there's not a lot of people out there doing that, like, actively, like.
and I know that stuff like that takes time,
Mhm.
like being positive and rooting people on and stuff. And that kind of comes back to gaming in a sense. Before we
Yeah.
kind of wrap up, so someone said that, so just give people a heads up, for Spoken has came out for PlayStation 5. The Callisto Protocol came out for all major platforms besides Switch. And we understand, because that's Unreal Engine 5, the graphics that they're going for is, Nintendo Switch wouldn't be able to handle it, but no one was asking for it for Switch, which is fine. And there's just been so much negativity towards those games and towards people who play those games. And it kind of, like, a lot, when you get to a negative state in your life and you spread that around, people don't want to be around you or deal with you and stuff, because it's just like, definitely for fictional stuff, things that don't even matter. Um the negative emotions is not doing anything. It's making, yeah. If you're trying to make someone feel bad or hurt them because they love something or they enjoy something that they played, written, or read and stuff, um, a lot of people just feel like, why are you spending your time on this? Like, what purpose does it serve? If you're gonna be negative about something, for some people, they be like, just keep it to yourself. Don't say nothing. If someone enjoys a game that you may feel like they don't enjoy, just say, "Oh, that's cool," or just don't say nothing at all. Look, people have gotten on me about Grand Theft Auto many a times and stuff, and I have always said that. Because even me and Austin, we had a discussion about Rockstar on his podcast, Ramble Rambles. We had a discussion about, what do I personally have to give against Rockstar? Why do I feel very negative towards them? And it's not that I don't feel negative towards Rockstar, because I think there are talented, sometimes, the developers there at that company. My problem that I have with them is that something about their games just doesn't feel right, and they get a pass with other games who may do something better or who may do something the same, always get like a lower score, lower comments or negative comments and stuff. And when it's Rockstar, because of their name, they just get a free pass from some people. So that's that and everything. But I don't hate people, or I don't be negative to people who love those games. I be like, cool, you enjoy it, great. Now I will say that there are times that I have been shady, that I have been negative and
Mhm.
everything, but it's because that I expect something bigger. Oh no, not bigger. I expect something greater from these developers or from this game or for this company and stuff and everything.
Mhm.
A lot of people say, "Well, you never negative about Nintendo." Yes, I never am negative. Well, I'm gonna say I never am negative, but there are some things about Nintendo that I have a problem with and everything. But I am not going to be super negative and stuff. When I was negative. I talked to you, Jesse, about being negative about the 360. And what was the three?
Mhm.
What was my thing with it? It was because the red ring of death. That was it,
Mhm.
and people had to rebuy it and stuff. That was my thing with it. Just like,
Mhm.
my negative thing with the PlayStation 4 wasn't the games or anything. It was the way that the system looked like a Kit Kat bar or a George Foreman grill. Like,
Mhm.
like yes, I've been negative about the Uncharted series. It's because of some of the stuff that I felt was a cliche. That was it. Don't hate those games. Don't hate those systems or anything. That was just I had some negative. I just had some negative comments for that weren't suitable for my eyes. Don't hate anyone who had the 360. Don't hate anyone who had the PlayStation. You know,
Mhm.
and everything. So, and I have learned over time to be more positive in gaming, be more positive supporter for people who love different games and everything.
Mhm.
I'm not a sports person, but if someone picks up MLB 2023 and have a ball with it, awesome. You got a
Mhm.
game that you love. Game Pass.
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
well, no, and like I think what makes a game good, is if they are getting people to pick the game up, even though it's not something that they normally would care about.
right.
Like MLB, the show you were talking about. Like I don't care about baseball and never really cared about baseball games, but that one in particular like made me want to pick it up and try it at least, and if a game can do that, like I think that's worth more than whether it's liked by the people who are a fan of that franchise, because they're most likely gonna like it anyways, because they like that stuff, that's what they want, that and they're gonna get it. It's when you can make a game that makes people interested in doing something that they normally wouldn't do, or
Right.
try a game that they normally wouldn't try. And like kind of going on the whole negative stuff, like one of the threads that's been going on Twitter, but it was about the Hi-Fi Rush, like only being 6 hours long. And it's like, what does it matter? Like, not every game needs to be like 30 hours long or more. Like, I mean, like you can tell right off the bat that this game was just going to be a nice, compact, experience. Like
Mm.
I wasn't expecting it to be a 30-hour long game, like it's just going to be a nice little experience. And some of the my favorite games of all time have only been like a couple of hours long.
And
Like I don't we need those games too. We don't, because if every game is 38 hours long, then like some people are going to fall off of it because it's too long, or now you're having to fight and find time to play all these games you want to play, and they're all 30 hours long, and now you don't have time to play them all because
and
now a new one's already coming out.
And me and Corey had this. Me and Corey had this talk about. I think actually me, Corey, Stephanie, and Ron. I think we talked about this on the Brothers podcast. was talking about game lift and stuff. And my thing was just like, why is it a problem for a game to be 40 plus hours when you spend that same amount in, let's say, Call of Duty or multiplayer, or you spend it in Destiny and stuff? And it's just like, those games weren't designed to have that much playtime, but you make it personally to have that playtime and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not right to be like, oh, that game is only 6 hours. I can't believe it's so short. But I'm just like, you put about probably that same amount of time per day for this one particular game. Why is that acceptable? And this game that's only 6 hours that may have awesome some replay and achievements and trophies and stuff that people want to achieve. Why is that a
Yeah.
problem with that when it comes to the game time? You know, people got on, I'm not gonna play 100-hour RPG like Persona 5, but then you gave Elden Ring Game of the Year because it had that same amount of content, about
Yeah.
100 some hours. So it's just like, when it comes to game, game time and stuff, it's unfair to judge one game about their game lift and use that same time that you would have put into that game lift in another game that wasn't designed that way, or that's a
Yeah.
multiplayer only game and stuff.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah. And I
if
mean, multiplayer though, like like that's the thing is like when you're playing something like Call of Duty multiplayer,
mhm,
you can't look at it the same as a regular game. Y- like in my opinion, you have to look at it more of like like a sport. Like
yes,
you're gonna play, like however many hours it takes to finish a football game every day, and you constantly keep doing that every day that that you have to play football. Like you're playing those kind of games to try to improve and like try to improve your skills, try to get better, and like it's more of a strategy type thing, I think. And so it's different. Like I get it. I get it. Like like if that's not something you're really into, like
hmm
it does seem like a waste of time. But I think it's the same way that like I like watching football, but man, I would never waste my time playing it like in real life. Like no way. Like that's not. I'm not interested at all.
it's so
But
it's so funny
but
that
you like sitting and watching it for 3 hours, but you don't want to sit and play it for 3 hours. That's kind of like the argument of like what you're giving is
well,
like, yes,
it's
okay, well, I like watching it, but I don't want to play it.
well, this is the funny thing because you mentioned football. So I just I went to a men's retreat in January, and uh this pastor, my friend, um he gave us a sheet, for us to match things about what do we prefer of things that we like and everything, and he
Hmm.
had sports on it. Now, I am a person who do not like sports. I love volleyball. I love cheerleading and pound competitions. That's how I am. I can't help it. But if I'm at, I would say this: if I'm at Fridays or I'm at a restaurant and stuff, I will watch a baseball game. I'll watch a football game or whatever, while eating my food, having drinks, and talking to my friend and stuff. I cannot personally sit down and watch a game because I will fall asleep. Now, I love Corey to death. Everybody knows, and I love that he talks about the Browns. And I asked about the Browns and everything. I don't know
Hmm.
anything about that team. I know when they're on their winning streak because they had that one coach. I root on Corey because he loves the Browns and stuff. I I I like the New York Jets. Don't know none of the players. Don't know none of the coaches. It is what it is. But if anyone asks about football, bam, I like the New York Jets and stuff. I
Yeah.
can't watch sports at all because I would literally fall asleep. A volleyball game, I could sit down and watch because it's unpredictable. It's very action packed. and everything.
Mhm.
And even though I might not know the players, I might not know the school or anything, sitting down and watch that ball go back and forth to see who's going to get the point. It's there's so much anticipation. Plus, I played volleyball in high school. There's so much anticipation and stuff. It's really cool to see how that all goes down. You get into it.
Mhm.
When it comes to like the pom and cheerleading competitions that I watch or I try to watch, I love the choreography. I love, the placements and everything, and maybe even the mix of the music, because that's kind of what I did in high school and stuff.
Mhm.
So that's like, but like the hardcore sports, don't know nothing about basketball, really don't know nothing about baseball and stuff. If the Super Bowl has happened before the time of this recording, I don't know who has won or anything. I don't know any dramas. I haven't seen the halftime show or anything. I normally, when it comes to Super Bowl or anything, I normally try to work or dip off to the mall or to the movies. Like, I try to not erase myself, but excuse myself to be somewhere else, so I don't have to be in that environment at all. And that's me.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing and everything.
Well, and then on the opposite side of that, that's the perfect time to go to the grocery store is when the football games are on because no one's there. They already went. They already went
Exactly.
before the game started. That's when I'll be going out and searching for for all the single women who don't care about football.
There we go, full circle. Well, Jesse, I want to thank you for doing this 1v1 with me. I'm so happy that we got to catch up. I know we have more to catch up on and talk about and hang out and stuff. But before we go, welcome back to Boss Rush. Hopefully, whatever you do next, we're going to be there to join you and have fun. But where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS, including Xbox, and I believe my PlayStation network is also Phantom NXS. Um, so I think at some point I was thinking about changing it to BRN and Phantom BRN, because NXS was kind of our at the time when I made that
Uh,
was the show that we were gonna do, but now it's Boss Rush Network, so I might just put burn at the end. But yeah, it's mostly Phantom NXS pretty much everywhere. So
yes. And everybody, you know where you can find me at, but I'm just going to say you can find me on Twitter at that retro code. It's just such an honor to talk to you, Jesse, to catch up on. I know we talked about a lot of stuff. And hopefully, hopefully the stuff that we talked about doesn't trigger anyone or doesn't seem disrespectful to anyone. We just really want to talk and kind of just like, you know, get to get back to what we normally used to do. And so yeah, the mental health stuff is not normally what we do or anything, but just having these like real life conversations and everything. I'm just happy to, like I said, speak to you, Jesse, and hopefully we talk more. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on 1v1. Bye, everybody.
bye.
1v1, the Creator Interview Series, is a product of Boss Rush Media, LLC, and part of the Boss Rush Podcast Supplemental Podcast. This show is hosted by Celeste Roberts. You can also hear interviews from other Boss Rush Media members on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FairyCrypt. To get updates on the latest episodes, follow the Boss Rush Podcast, Boss Rush Media, and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms, or subscribe to the Boss Rush podcast feed in your favorite podcast application. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.